Hello, everyone. Welcome to Everything Arsenal, and this is your latest news. A lot to talk about today, including injury updates and also transfer news, and a lot of different things in between throughout this video. We'll keep it short, not too long. But let's start with Mikel Arteta. Now, obviously, he has been awarded the Manager of the Month. We definitely expected it, like when the nominations came out, or even when we won the third game of February, I was like, definitely it's going to get Manager of the Month this month. And then after the fourth one against Newcastle, that one just sealed it. So, as you can see, official Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta has been named the Premier League Manager of the Month for February 2024. His seventh time winning the award in his career. So last season he did win a bunch of them. He won like 3-4 of them last season. This season, this is his first award in terms of Manager of the Month. So congratulations to him and the team. And what I like about Arteta and the whole coaching team, like the way he involves everyone, the way everyone is involved during the games. You can see the set piece coach is always there, giving instructions, and the rest of them as well, even the guy on the left of him, on our left, and then the right of him. So yeah, as you look at the picture, let's just make it easy. As you look at the picture, the second guy from the left side is assistant manager who has been linked to the championship, like other teams wanting to actually go and beat their coach in the championship. So it's a very, very good coaching team that we have here, and they definitely deserve the Manager of the Month award, and absolutely love the way Arteta involves everyone. It is an incredible month, man. Like beating Newcastle 4-1, beating Liverpool 3-1, scoring those 7 goals at home, and then obviously beating West Ham by 6 goals, beating Burnley by 5 goals. It was an incredible way to an incredible month for us that February. And if I'm not wrong, last year, I'm pretty sure we lost to like Everton away from home and maybe Man City. It wasn't a great February last year, but this time it was a very, very good February in terms of the Premier League. And congratulations to Mikel Arteta and the whole coaching team. Now, since Mikel Arteta is getting this award, there's obviously teams that want him as well, right? Teams are starting to notice like how good Mikel Arteta is, and teams want him. And Barcelona is one of those teams. So that news came out a couple of weeks ago, and then it went quiet. But it looks like it's back in the news. According to reports from Spain, Barcelona has not lost sight of Mikel Arteta as their next potential coach, even though Arteta called himself a Ghana when contacted. So I'm going to stick with my same thoughts from last time. There's absolutely no chance that leaves us. So right now, absolutely no chance. If he had already like won the league and maybe the Champions League, and maybe you're not really close to winning the second one, and he wants to maybe go and try out another country, maybe. But in the middle of a project like this, and we are this close to winning a Premier League, I'm pretty sure, listen, by the time we get to 2020, which year, 2024, by the time we get to 2026 there, we'd have won those 2 big trophies. Like, I'm almost 100% certain. Like, we might not win the Champions League this season because we're very new at it, but who knows? Imagine if we win both of them this season, maybe that would be absolutely crazy. But by the time we get to in the next couple of years, we'll have 3-4 trophies in the bag. And he'd have succeeded a lot because the likes of Saka are growing, Martinelli is growing, those guys, Declan Rice is still young, Odegaard is still young, Saliba, Gabriel, you can see that partnership continuing for 4 or 5 years if they all stay. Ben White is there, is young as well. We've just brought in another goalkeeper in David Raya. Next season, maybe a couple of more tweaks in terms of, adding a striker and maybe a backup goalkeeper next season. Who knows? Maybe Ramsdale wants to stay. Like there's not too much again that we need to do in the transfer window. So if everyone stays put again, maybe next season we win the Premier League and then we also win the FA Cup. Maybe it will be back-to-back Premier Leagues next season if we win it this season as well. I don't see why he would leave Arsenal. And on top of that, like he basically controls a lot of things at Arsenal. Like if you see the way Chelsea is run, I don't think Pochettino and the director run everything like together. For us, I'm pretty sure like Kroenke has left everything to Edu and Arteta like run the day-to-day business. Arteta is the one who like still tells Edu, listen, I want this player, let's get this one. Or Edu tells Arteta, can we get this player? And they talk about it. And in terms of convincing players, he has the London factor, he has the Arsenal factor now that we're doing well, he has the Champions League factor, he has the attractive factor of telling people, listen, we have Saka's here, we have Odegaard's here. Like we're in such a good position, I don't see why he'd leave and go to Barcelona. If this was 10 years ago, maybe. But Barcelona right now are in a mess and they are nowhere near us. Like if it was like a Man City, maybe. But I don't think there's any other team that are big in terms of everything that is going on in the club than Arsenal at the moment. So I don't see him leaving at all. He's definitely going going to be here next season, and I don't want to leave him at all. I'm nowhere near Arteta out. I've never said it once, and I'm not anywhere close to saying it in the next 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, maybe even 10 years. Who knows? If you continue playing like this, smashing teams, competing with Man City and Liverpool, the titles are going to come. Like, I'm 100% certain. So that's the latest on Mikel Arteta. Now, let's quickly take a look at the injury updates for this weekend. Brentford, FC Porto is a very big game, but we need to focus on the Brentford one first, and then we look at the next Premier League fixtures after that as well. So Martinelli and Saka, what's the latest on them? Well, according to Mikel Arteta's conference, he said we are pretty positive that Martinelli and Saka will be involved against Brentford, but that a decision will be taken on Friday, which is today. So this news came out yesterday. Personally, obviously Saka, you don't really want a situation where you don't have both of them in the game. It becomes a bit hard. Although, listen, you can play Trossard and those guys in the team. You can even play Trossard on the left, Jesus on the right, and have Havertz up front. You still bring in quality from the bench with Trossard and Jesus, but you want at least one of them on the pitch. So for me, I have Saka in the team because he was just ill. It wasn't an injury. But for Martinelli, because he was literally stepped on and he has a gash on his foot, I would not play him for this game. I think Trossard is good enough to come in and play this game. Start Trossard in this one, leave Martinelli on the bench. If things go completely wrong, then you can turn to Martinelli. But I want him to be fully fit for the FC Porto game. I know I've said look at Brentford first, but in his situation, he's just been injured. So I think we can do well without him against Brentford. But hopefully he will be back for the Brentford the FC Porto game. Sorry. So that's latest on the both of them. I think we're going to see both of them in the team. I'd not be surprised if Martinelli's on the bench, but in terms of the squad on the day and the lineup and the bench, I think you're going to see both of them starting, potentially one of them on the bench, but I don't think Martinelli will completely miss out. But I mean, listen, we have Trossard, we have Jesus who can play on the left, both of them. Nelson is there as well. Smith Rowe is there, can play on the left side. I think we are good to go. What about defensively? We currently don't have too many injuries. It's only like Tomiyasu, Timber is back. It's only like Tomiyasu and Zinchenko who are missing. What's the latest on Tomiyasu? According to reports from Mikel Arteta's conference, he said he's very close. He's already doing something on the grass, and hopefully we are going to have him very close with us. So doesn't look like he'll make it for this weekend as well. I mean, he might be a surprise and see him on the bench, but does he really have to? Like, there's a couple of players, like Kiwi is playing really well right now. Let him play. I want Zinchenko, Timber, and Tomiyasu not to be rushed. If they're there for those crucial games in April and May, that is what I need them to do. So Timber, Tomiyasu, Zinchenko, I don't really need them back. I was thinking Tomiyasu for the Champions League game, but Kiwi has been playing well. Out of FC Porto, we are not playing for another 3 weeks. There's an international break there. There's players like Ben White who don't get picked for England. So if Tomiyasu remains injured, he doesn't go to play for Japan. Zinchenko potentially doesn't go to play for Ukraine, and for Timber as well doesn't get picked by Netherlands. So if you just keep them in a bubble, save them until after the international break, those games at home where we need Zinchenko, we can play him. Those Champions League games where we need to defend, Tomiyasu is there. Timber is going to be returning as well. Kiwi can maybe even start and allow Gabriel to rest for one of those games. Move him to the centre-back position. I think for these three players, I don't really need them to be rushed at all. We have good enough squad to deal with the Brentford and FC Porto, hopefully. So that's the latest on Tomiyasu. We might see him against FC Porto, but not against Brentford. So that's the latest in terms of injury updates and the latest news in terms of him getting managerial month, manager of the month. Let's go to the transfer news. Next up, the transfer news. What's the latest transfer news? So let's start with this. That came out yesterday night, or was it today morning, from David Ornstein. Arsenal's transfer priority this summer is a striker. For the first time in a long time, Arsenal will spend heavily on youth level players. So what he meant by that is players to fit into what you bring, not 17-year-olds. That's not what he means. Like, our team is very youthful, like Saka's, Martinelli's, those kind of players. So what if you bring in another striker who's like 22, 23, who is going to fit with the youth project that we have in the team? That would be absolutely incredible. So it looks like the striker situation, we are really definitely going to get a striker this summer. We've not really been looking at the strikers. That's one thing people usually say about it. He's never really signed striker since joining Arsenal. It's a lot of defenders and a lot of midfielders, but this only striker, maybe Jesus, is not really signed forward players. But looks like this transfer window, our priorities are striker. Now, the kind of goals you're scoring, the number of goals you're scoring, the different kinds of goals you're scoring, it looks like we could get 90 goals this season. That will be our record in terms of our Premier League history. That will break our record from last season. We might actually end up scoring more goals this season than last season. And for 5 months, people are like, we're not scoring enough goals. That would be crazy. We've scored the most goals in the Premier League as well this campaign. Imagine adding a striker to that. Like, we could easily get 100+ goals, which is just mind-blowing. But which kind of strikers are we looking at? According to Di Marzio, it's probably the right moment for Victor Gyokeres to leave Sporting now. They will ask for more than 50 million euros, and they will probably demand his exit clause price, which is 100 million. Only the Premier League clubs can afford him. So Chelsea or Arsenal can afford him. And Arsenal wants him because they need a striker. So in terms of what you just said, in terms of the youth project, Gyokeres fits in perfectly with that. As I said, only the Premier League teams can afford that. But in terms of money, the 100 million, listen, as I said, I want every single defender to remain at Arsenal. Obviously, Cedric, I think, will definitely leave. But everyone else, personally, I wouldn't sell anyone. And that leaves us like with 7-8 defenders. If everyone is fit, I don't think we necessarily need the defender. Midfield, obviously, we don't know who's going to leave. Jorginho hasn't extended his contract yet. We don't know the situation with Partey. I think El Neni will leave. So we might need one midfielder. So going into this transfer window, we might actually need a striker and a midfielder, 2 players, and then maybe try and get a winger. But it depends on how many players you sign in the summer. But you don't need like 5-6 players. You only need like 2 or 3 players this summer. So maybe that will allow us to splash 80 million pounds for a striker like Gyokeres. Who knows? So that would be one to watch. We've been sending scouts to watch him the last couple of weeks. I think they watched him against, was it Benfica or FC Porto? One of those teams. I think he was playing against Benfica on that day, and the Arsenal scouts were there watching him. And if it's between us and Chelsea, I would hope that we can get him ahead of Chelsea because we have Champions League football. I'm sure he'd want to play Champions League football, so it's going to be an interesting one on Gyokeres. There's obviously other strikers. There's news on Osimhen. Arsenal still linked to Osimhen. We don't know about Tony as well. Like, I'm sure you're going to get a striker. It's going to be one of those 3, or maybe you're going to get a surprising one. Who knows? But if we get a striker this summer transfer window, that will be absolutely huge for us. And that will probably mean Nketiah leaves Arsenal, maybe even Reece Nelson. But you have to keep on improving your team. As the years go by, you have to keep on improving the team. That's what Guardiola's done. They won league titles. Sane left. They won league titles. Sterling left. Jesus left. Zinchenko left. They won league titles. The treble. Gundogan left. Myers left. You have to keep on improving the team, moving the team around to keep everything fresh as well. So Gyokeres could be one to look out for this transfer window. A wing as well. We're still linked to a winger, and that is in Nico Williams. According to Fabrizio Romano, Nico Williams has a 50 million release clause, which is 43 million pounds. And we're looking at him. I also heard that Chelsea are looking at him, but I'm also hearing that Chelsea might not be able to afford him with all the problems that they have at the moment financially. We bought Rice for more than 100 million last summer, and bought Havertz for 65 million. So I think we're in a good place financially, but I'm not 100% sure where we'll be at the end of the season. But will we have like 150 million to spend? I don't think you're going to get like 250 million to spend again unless we get rid of some players. But if you can get like 150 million and then you get a striker and a release clause of Nico Williams for 3 million, I don't know what the midfield situation will be. I think you're going to be in a very, very good position. So Gyokeres, you're talking around 85 million pounds. And for Nico Williams are talking about 43 million release clause. So let's see what happens with that. So that's the latest in terms of the latest news, injury updates, and also transfer news. Let me know, which striker would you want at Arsenal? Are you settling for Osimhen? Would you pick Tony? Would you pick Gyokeres, a younger striker would fit the youth project that we have running? And also, would you play Martinelli against Brentford this weekend, or would you keep him until the FC Porto game? And would you even start him in the FC Porto game, or would you keep him until after the international break to have him fully fit? Thank you for watching, and I'll catch up with you guys on the next one.